8 months pregnant. My husband insisted on inviting his married little niece to our home to celebrate the New Year's Eve. She took an aphrodisiac and, right in front of me, dragged my husband onto the sofa and they had sex. When I caught them, she started crying pitifully. It's all Audrey's fault. I took the wrong medicine. Thankfully, little uncle helped me with his body. It was just an accident. Little auntie, you won't mind, will you? I was so angry that my whole body was trembling. My husband, still not satisfied, put his arm around Audrey's slender waist and frowned. I said it was an accident. I'm the closest man to Audrey besides her husband. I couldn't just watch her go out on the street and randomly pick up a man to sleep with, could I? Can't you be more reasonable? After saying that, he stopped looking at me, and with a dazed look, he hugged Audrey. Darling, let's go again. With my 8-month pregnant belly, I packed my luggage and prepared to go back to my parents' home. But William locked me in the wardrobe. What are you making a fuss about during the new year? You're really being difficult. You're pregnant. We, as a couple, have to celebrate the new year together tonight. Just stay in there obediently. There was a lock outside the wardrobe. I could hear their voices, one wave after another. My intense emotions triggered premature labor. I desperately called for help, but they were too caught up in their madness to pay any attention. At 12 o'clock in the morning, they kissed each other and said, "Happy New Year," to each other. But I was despairingly feeling my fetus suffocating and dying in my womb. 3 days later, William finally remembered that I was still locked in the wardrobe. He rushed back in a hurry but only saw a pool of blood on the ground. He was insanely regretful. Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. Subscribe us to read wonderful novels every day. Now the story begins. Hearing uneven gasping sounds coming from outside, I struggled to get out of bed with my 8-month pregnant belly. Thinking there was a thief, I was just about to call out to my husband, but the words got stuck in my throat the next second. William, who should have been in the kitchen preparing the New Year's Eve dinner. At this moment, he was frantically tearing at Audrey's clothes and carried her by the waist onto the kitchen countertop. His eyes red as he tried to kiss her. William's clothes were already messily scattered on the ground. Soon, they were embracing each other and gasping heavily, as if no one else was around. The sound of fireworks and firecrackers outside the window exploded in my ears. I stared blankly at the two people immersed in their passion in front of me. My phone clattered to the ground, shattering the screen. "Oh, it's little auntie." Audrey looked up, saw me, and let out a low scream. Then she blushed and burrowed into William's arms. Her fair neck was exposed, with a patch of ambiguous and suspicious red marks on it. "Little uncle, you said you gave her sleeping pills and she wouldn't wake up. Now that she's caught us, how am I supposed to face others in the future?" Audrey coquettishly pretended to cry, and William comforted her affectionately. But the next second, he frowned and looked at me with disgust. "Caroline, Audrey is shy. She'll feel uncomfortable with you here. You go out first." I was struck like by lightning. I never thought that my husband, who had been loving me for 5 years after marriage, could have the nerve to say such a thing so brazenly. "William, are you crazy? Audrey is your little niece. Do you know what you're doing?" William's eyes lingered amorously on Audrey's curvy figure, and his Adam's apple twitched. "Anyway, she's not a blood-related niece. What are you afraid of?" Audrey was the daughter of William's sworn brother. Her brother died in a car accident and entrusted his daughter to William's care before his death. But I never expected that now he would take her into his arms. I was so angry that I could hardly breathe. Just as I was about to speak, Audrey's aggrieved voice came the next second. "Little auntie, little uncle and I are innocent. Don't blame him. Blame Audrey instead." I couldn't fall asleep just now and wanted to take some sleeping pills, but the packaging looked too similar, and I accidentally took the aphrodisiac I used to flirt with my husband. It's all Audrey's fault for taking the wrong medicine. Thankfully, little uncle helped me with his body. It was just an accident. "Little auntie, you won't mind, will you?" Audrey bit her lip as she said this, with an abnormal flush on her face. William gently smoothed the strands of her hair that were damp with sweat by her ear. "Audrey, how are you feeling? Has the effect of the medicine worn off?" Audrey shook her head. "Little uncle, She swallowed her words, glanced at me cautiously, and then wrapped her hands around William's neck, holding him even tighter. I was so angry that I was about to explode. "William, tell her to get out of here right now." William's eyes showed a hint of anger, and he glared at me. "Caroline, what are you making a fuss about during the new year? You're pregnant and still not at peace. You can't satisfy me, and you won't let me find other women outside. I've listened to you. Now Audrey needs my help. You still won't let me. Can you stop being so unreasonable? Besides, Audrey rarely comes to our house after she got married. Her husband is abroad for 3 months. What's wrong with her coming to our house to celebrate the new year? My husband, still full of desire, put his arm around Audrey's slender waist and frowned. I said it was an accident. I'm Audrey's uncle. I couldn't just watch her go out on the street and randomly pick up a man to sleep with, could I? Can't you be more understanding? After saying that, he stopped looking at me, and with a dazed look, he hugged Audrey. Darling, let's go again. He carried Audrey to the study and closed the door heavily. I saw Audrey lying on his shoulder, casting a provocative and triumphant look at me. Then she mouthed to me, "Old and fat woman, your husband doesn't want you anymore." I was so angry that I almost fainted. I leaned against the wall when I was about to fall backwards. Audrey did it on purpose. On New Year's Eve, she sent me a message early in the morning. "Little auntie, my husband is abroad. You don't mind if I come to your house to celebrate the new year, do you?" I've always disliked William's niece who has no sense of boundaries. Every time she came to our house, she deliberately dressed very revealingly, either in low-cut blouses or mini-skirts, and she would deliberately get close to William, pretending to have accidental physical contact with him. I replied to her, "You're not welcome in our house." But I never expected that when I woke up from a nap, she was already in my husband's arms, lying on my husband's bed, wearing her New Year's outfit. Amorous sounds came from the study. Audrey coquettishly asked William, "Little uncle, whose figure is better, mine or your wife's?" I accidentally clicked on the surveillance in the study and saw William put his arm around Audrey's waist, greedily breathing on her white neck and shoulders. "Yours, of course. After Caroline got pregnant, she's got a waist like a barrel. I can't even look at her. She just eats all day long, like a pig. How can she be as sexy and enchanting as you?" I stared blankly, and tears fell uncontrollably. The next second, I came to my senses and pushed the door of the study open in anger. "William, you're the one who begged me to have this child. Don't you know why I've become like this?" I could no longer hold back my grievances. He was the one who had begged me with red eyes to have a child. William came back from the physical examination looking gloomy. He was almost crying pitifully. "Wife, the doctor said I have asthenozoospermia. We have to have a child in the next 2 years, or I won't be able to have one in a few years." My career was on the rise, and I didn't want to be tied down by family so early. But William pleaded with me in every possible way. "Caroline, let's have a child. A child is the bond between us. You just need to give birth. I'll take care of it. I promise I'll only love you and the child more." 8 months pregnant, I had experienced countless bouts of morning sickness, various side effects of pregnancy, and my work and career were ruined. But in the end, I got such a heartbreaking sentence. William's pleasure was interrupted by me, and his face looked extremely ugly. He casually picked up the glass pen holder on the table and threw it at me. The glass shattered on my forehead. The shards pierced my skin, and bright red blood flowed down from the corner of my eye. William was stunned, and a flash of panic appeared in his eyes. "Caroline, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. Who told you to stand there so stupidly and not even dodge? You deserve it." Audrey, with half-exposed clothes, pouted and complained. "During the new year, there has to be blood. It's so unlucky. Little uncle, I don't want to see this fat old woman. Can you make her go out?" Audrey's face was flushed as she held William's face and was about to kiss him. William looked doting. Okay. I'll make her go out right away so that our Audrey won't be shy." With that, William got up and pushed me. He looked very unhappy. "Didn't you hear? You're pregnant. Why aren't you lying in bed properly? What are you doing wandering around here?" Tears streaming down my face, I glared at him with red eyes. "William, are you even human? Do you really believe that Audrey accidentally took the medicine? She clearly seduced you. You two got into bed right in front of me. What do you take me for?" William looked impatient. "All right, have you had enough of this?" I lost my last bit of hope, wiped away my tears, and sneered. "Let's get a divorce." The expression on William's face froze instantly. He turned his head to look at me in disbelief and let out an even louder sneer. "Caroline, are you out of your mind? You've had a good life for too long. You're actually threatening me with divorce." "I've already said that Audrey just needs my help for this one night. It doesn't threaten your position. You'll always be my wife." Which man hasn't faced temptation? We're just having some fun. You're the mother of my child. He locked me in the room and threatened me arrogantly. Drink this glass of water obediently and have a good sleep. When you wake up, just think of it as a dream. You didn't see anything. The glass of water in William's hand had already been mixed with sleeping pills. That's when I realized. Since I got pregnant, on countless nights when I slept soundly, Audrey would come to our house late at night. They would indulge and have fun right next to me. I was so angry that I raised my hand and knocked the glass over. The glass and the liquid spilled onto the ground, making a clear sound. William, I won't bother you anymore. You can go about your business, I said calmly and turned back to the room. William smiled in satisfaction. That's my good wife. I knew that with my child in her belly. How much more trouble could she cause? In the end, she still has to be obedient. He happily put his arm around Audrey's waist. Come on, let's continue. Their voices gradually faded away, and my eyes turned colder. Then I called my best friend. I've made an appointment for an induced labor at the hospital. Can you accompany me? My best friend asked me in surprise. Caroline, what happened? Why do you suddenly want an induced labor during the new year? You cherish this child the most. Did you have a fight? I smiled bitterly. He cheated. I want a divorce. Naturally, there was no need to give birth to this child anymore. With my 8-month pregnant belly, I stumbled around packing my luggage, preparing to go back to my parents' home. When I went out with the suitcase, the sound alerted William, who had just finished. He saw me at a glance, and his face instantly changed. He rushed over. Caroline, what are you making a fuss about? He kicked my suitcase over with such force that I lost my balance and fell backwards in a sorry state. Seeing me in so much pain, William was stunned for a moment and was about to come over to help me. But then Audrey's loud laughter came. Little uncle, doesn't she look like a turtle that's turned over? Her belly is so big and ugly. It's really scary. Audrey's laughter affected William, and his furrowed brows relaxed. He folded his arms and laughed. Now that you mention it, she really does. My belly started to ache after being hit. I struggled to get up and call my family. When he saw me trying to call my mom, William snatched my phone away. What are you calling for? During the new year, do you want to make your mom uneasy too? He angrily forced my phone to shut down. During the new year, you're actually thinking of going back to your parents' home to complain. It seems I've been too gentle with you. Caroline, if you're not good, you'll be punished. William gave Audrey a wicked smile and a wink. The next second, the two of them carried me and threw me into the wardrobe, locking it. I was horrified. William knew very well that I had claustrophobia, especially in a wardrobe so dark that not even a ray of light could penetrate. Let me out, William. But outside, there were the two people's amorous whispers. William, I've never tried this before. The more miserably she shouts in there, the more excited we'll be. Right. My eyes were red and swollen, due to fear and tension. My stomach pain became even worse. I desperately slapped the wardrobe door. Please, let me out. My stomach hurts. The baby will be in danger like this. Call 120 for me. The sound of fireworks outside drowned out my cries for help. They ignored me. Just then, accompanied by intense pain, I suddenly felt a warm sensation between my legs. Oh no. And there's blood. I desperately pounded on the wardrobe door, until my voice gradually became hoarse. No matter how much I shouted, I couldn't catch William's attention. I didn't know if he was so immersed in what he was doing that he went crazy, or if he had deliberately left me here and ignored me. All my senses were gradually blurring. There was only a tearing sensation coming from my lower body, as if my whole body was about to split in half. Baby. My baby. I clearly felt the suffocation of the baby in my womb. It seemed to be desperately trying to come out, but only blood kept gushing out. The baby seemed to be stuck. My head was covered in sweat, and the smell of blood filled the enclosed wardrobe. The sounds outside continued one after another, and on the other side, my best friend, Dolores, was anxiously pacing around downstairs of my house, looking at the brightly lit window upstairs. She made the 29th call. Caroline, answer the phone. What are you doing? But the phone still prompted that it was turned off. Helplessly, my best friend called William. Hello, is Caroline at home? William, bare-chested, was carrying Audrey to the balcony bay window. Hearing the question, he sneered and glanced towards the bedroom. Caroline is at home. We're playing games. What's up? Dolores felt something was wrong, but she didn't say anything. thinking it was just a minor quarrel between us as a couple. She hung up the phone and went back. William carried Audrey to show off in front of me. Caroline, you're really not being good. Why do you always tell your best friend about our family affairs? Fortunately, I tricked her away. Otherwise, it would be another hassle. But no matter how excessive his words were, I wouldn't respond anymore. Even if I wanted to call for help, I couldn't make any sound. All my strength had been exhausted. I just curled up in despair, sweating profusely, waiting for death to come. Little uncle, is little auntie ignoring you because she's angry? During the new year, don't punish her anymore. Otherwise, she'll hate Audrey. The man chuckled. So what? She's about to give birth. She'll have a lot more hardships to endure in the future. This is just the beginning. The clock struck 12 o'clock in the morning. Fireworks outside the window went off one after another. Happy New Year, my little beauty. William's gentle voice came. Happy New Year, little uncle. I hope my husband will be on a business trip next year too. Audrey still wants to celebrate the new year with you. Against the backdrop of the blooming fireworks, they kissed passionately and said, Happy New Year, to each other. But I was in extreme despair, weakly feeling the fetus gradually suffocating. Before my consciousness became chaotic, there was only one thought left in my mind. William, I never want to meet you again in my next life. The condoms are out. I'll go get some. William put the woman on the sofa and walked into the bedroom. But as soon as he saw the blood flowing out from the wardrobe, William panicked instantly. His face turned deathly pale, and he stumbled towards the wardrobe. Caroline, Caroline, what are you doing in there? Answer me. Not hearing a response, William's hands trembled as he tried to open the wardrobe, but his hand hadn't even touched the lock when Audrey stopped him. Little uncle, what are you so nervous about? I saw it just now. When little auntie was locked in, she secretly hid a tomato. This is clearly the tomato juice she deliberately made. I didn't expect her to be so scheming, to be jealous and play the victim. She even came up with such a trick. As soon as she finished speaking, William's expression relaxed a lot. You mean all this is tomato juice? Audrey nodded. Of course it is. Don't you remember? The doctor said that during the half-month stage of pregnancy, the fetus is the most stable and nothing will happen. Little auntie must be jealous that I'm celebrating the new year at your house. She deliberately pretended to be pitiful to make you feel sorry for her. Her purpose is to drive Audrey away. As she spoke, Audrey pretended to cry pitifully. Audrey is so pitiful. My husband has been on a business trip abroad for several months. Audrey can only spend the new year alone. William lovingly held her in his arms. How could that be? No one can drive Audrey away. He glanced at the wardrobe with disdain and kicked it viciously. Caroline, you're really scheming to drive Audrey away. You can even act like this. Why don't you go to the entertainment industry and be a movie queen? Looking at you makes me sick. With that, William picked up Audrey and walked towards another room. Audrey hooked his neck and chuckled. Little uncle, it's so boring at home. I know a place that's really fun. Soon, they got dressed and went to another place to have fun. They played for 3 whole days and nights, completely forgetting about my existence. I thought I was going to die like this. Unexpectedly, when I woke up, I found myself in a hospital ward. Seeing that I was awake, my best friend, Dolores, held my hand with a worried look on her face and shed tears with red eyes. Caroline, you're finally awake. You scared me to death. It turned out that, after receiving William's call that day, Dolores thought about it carefully for a long time and felt something was wrong. She tried to call my phone, but it was still turned off. So she guessed that something must have happened to me. Since we were very close, I had told her that there was a spare key in the fire hydrant. Dolores came back, opened the door of my house with the key, and found the room in a mess. Only the bedroom had a strong smell of blood. Seeing the pool of blood flowing out from the wardrobe, she was terrified. She found tools and smashed the lock. Inside, she saw me covered in blood, extremely weak. She immediately called an ambulance. Do you know that you've been lying in the hospital for 3 days? The ambulance sent you to the emergency room, and I was so scared. There was still a large patch of blood on Dolores's body, which must have gotten on her when she carried me. She stayed with me in the hospital for 3 days and nights without sleep. And my husband, who promised not to let me suffer any grievances, was fooling around with another woman when our mother-child pair almost died. I almost choked and spoke hoarsely. Dolores, thank you so much. Thank you for saving my life. I turned my head with difficulty to look around, but I didn't see anything. A bad premonition filled my heart. Dolores, where's my baby? After waking up, my abdomen was flat. I knew the baby must have been born, but at this moment, I couldn't see the baby anywhere. Dolores lowered her head, hesitant to speak. Caroline, don't be sad when I tell you this. The baby didn't make it. The doctor said you were sent to the hospital too late. The baby had already died on the way to the hospital in the ambulance. I fell silent. My eyes quietly turned red. Dolores tried to persuade me with a sobbing voice. Caroline, if you're sad, just cry. Don't hold it in. I know you're good at enduring, but please don't hurt yourself by holding it in. I forced a smile and shook my head. I'm not sad. Dolores, you forget that on New Year's Eve, I was going to call you to accompany me to have an induced labor. I had an 8-month relationship with this child, and I also hoped it could be my child, but we were just not fated. This is probably for the best. Lying in the hospital bed, I thought about the past countless times. William had asthenozoospermia. The doctor said that he should have a child as soon as possible while he was still young and could take medicine. But even after taking the medicine, it was very difficult to conceive a child. To have this child, we had IVF attempts again and again. I also took a lot of medicine and suffered a lot. When I first got pregnant, William saw that I couldn't even eat and had to run to the bathroom to vomit every now and then. He was so heartbroken that he couldn't eat either. He even hugged me tightly and kept apologizing to me. It's all my fault. Caroline, I made you suffer these grievances. I promise I'll treat you and the baby well for the rest of my life. You won't regret choosing me. But it had only been a few months. Just because the doctor said the fetus was stable, he started to get complacent, believing that I couldn't leave him with the child. So he had affairs with Audrey again and again. The first time I caught them being affectionate, I angrily questioned him with my phone. But William said nonchalantly, Caroline, can't you be less petty? Audrey and I have been close since we were kids. What's wrong with me caring more about her? Her husband is on a business trip abroad all year round. Don't I have to take care of her? I didn't take it seriously at first, but later I heard him say to his friends, men, pretending to be affectionate until the second trimester of pregnancy is enough. Anyway, it's like fishing. Once a woman is hooked, she can't leave you no matter what. I was completely heartbroken. But now, lying in the hospital bed, I felt as if I had been reborn. Dolores, I want revenge. Dolores was stunned for a moment, then firmly held my hand. I support you. It was 3 days later when William realized something was wrong with me. Starting from the first day of the Lunar New Year, for 3 consecutive days, he took Audrey to one place after another. They went to bars and KTVs. They even booked a couple's suite. When he finally came to his senses and remembered that his wife was still locked in the wardrobe, he rushed back like crazy. Caroline, I was having too much fun and forgot about you. I'll let you out right away. But when he opened the wardrobe, he found it empty. Where is she? William's face turned pale, while Audrey, who was following him, calmly comforted him. Little uncle, don't worry too much. Caroline is an adult. She must have run out these 3 days and deliberately gave you a scare. Our friends are still waiting for us at the bar. Don't worry about her. But the next second, Audrey was pushed away by him forcefully. William squatted down with a pale face. He clearly saw that the ground and the bottom of the wardrobe were all covered in blood. Even several clothes inside were dyed red. There's so much tomato juice. He hesitated for a moment, dipped his finger in some and smelled it at the tip of his nose. The strong smell of blood made his face turn white. It's real blood. Caroline, something really happened to my wife. William rushed out like crazy, looking for me everywhere, but he couldn't find me at all. 7 days later, he received a divorce agreement from the lawyer, and I had already signed it. No, it's impossible. Caroline is still pregnant with my child. How could she file for divorce? This must be a prank. He raised his hand and tore the divorce agreement to pieces. William called me like crazy, but he couldn't get through. He himself forgot that he was the one who had broken my phone and forcefully turned it off. And I didn't want that phone or anything from that home anymore. I thought they were dirty. After I was discharged from the hospital, I stayed at Dolores's house for a few days. One day, when I went out shopping with Dolores went to buy me milk tea. I was standing on the bridge waiting for her when suddenly a soft laugh came from behind. Little auntie, I didn't expect you to be playing hard to get here. Why did you disappear? Just because you're angry with little uncle. Even if you act up, you're still an annoying old hag. Do you really think little uncle will care about you? Audrey, wearing a short skirt and a white jacket, appeared in front of me with a sneer on her face. I didn't want to pay attention to her and turned to leave. Unexpectedly, she grabbed my hand. Caroline, what are you pretending to be noble for? Do you think William really liked you and married you? Let me tell you the truth. The person he's always liked is me. But since I got married, he had no hope. So he just married you casually. He just regards you as a baby-making tool. You really thought it was true love. Do you believe that with just one word from me, William will come running to me like a dog? I sneered. Audrey mistook this smile for contempt and doubt, and suddenly got angry. You don't believe me? Then let's give it a try. With that, she looked behind her and suddenly let out a soft scream. Little uncle, help me. She tightened her grip on my arm and pulled it down, deliberately trying to pull me off the bridge with her. I had been on guard. I held onto the bridge railing tightly. I watched as Audrey's expression gradually turned pale. The next second, she fell into the cold water like a duck. Caroline, how could you push Audrey into the river? William's angry voice came as expected. Without hesitation, he took off his down jacket and jumped into the water to save her. From beginning to end, I stood on the bridge, coldly watching them act. William came out of the water, in a sorry state, shivering from the cold. But he still didn't forget to coldly scold me. Caroline, do you think this is interesting? Disappearing and making me worry about you these days. And now pushing Audrey into the river. Don't you know how to do something good for our unborn child? His words suddenly got stuck in his throat. His eyes widened in horror as he looked at my flat belly. Where's the baby? William threw Audrey aside like crazy and rushed towards me with a pale face. Caroline, I'm asking you a question. Where's our baby? I coldly shook off his hand. You killed it with your own hands. Do you still have the nerve to ask me? William was like being hit on the head with a stick. He was completely stunned in place. No, this can't be true. I just locked you in the wardrobe for a while. The baby was clearly stable at 8 months. The doctor said nothing would happen. How could I have killed it? Before I could speak, the next second, a cup of scalding hot milk tea fell from the sky and splashed all over William's face. You despicable scumbag. How dare you even ask what happened to Caroline? Dolores was so angry that she stomped her feet, standing protectively in front of me to vent my anger for me. You cheated and fooled around with this slut, and you actually abandoned your own wife and child. It was New Year's Eve. You knew perfectly well that Caroline was a pregnant woman who needed the utmost care. How could you bear to lock her in a pitch-black wardrobe? What's more, I know Caroline has claustrophobia. You've been married to her for 5 years. Don't you know that? Dolores sneered. Is it that you really didn't know? Or you just didn't care at all? After hearing these words, William's face turned as pale as paper. He dropped to his knees in despair and kept pleading with me. Caroline, what she said isn't true. Right, I get it. Are you two deliberately putting on this act to get revenge on me and punish me? It's okay if you're angry. You can hit me or curse me. But please, let me see our child. William thought the child had already been born. He even thought that I was still mad at him for cheating and had hidden the child to punish him. But I replied sarcastically, fine, come to the hospital tomorrow. William's expression relaxed a great deal, and he readily agreed with anticipation written all over his face. The next day, William indeed arrived as promised. He looked around excitedly. Caroline, where's our child? Is it a boy or a girl? Does it look like you or me? I didn't respond. Instead, I took out a document from my bag and handed it to him. Sign this document, and then I'll let you see it. William was so preoccupied with the child that he signed the document in a rush without even clearly reading the words. Divorce agreement. Okay, I've signed it. Now can you take me to see the child? I gave a cold laugh. Sure. I took a photo of the divorce agreement, put the original away, and handed it to Dolores. Dolores, help me take this to the lawyer. Then I led William to the hospital morgue. Upon seeing the eerie atmosphere in the morgue, William couldn't help but shiver. He frowned and looked at me. Caroline, are you playing tricks on me? You promised to take me to see the child. What are you bringing me to this spooky place for? A sarcastic smile played on my lips. What? Scared? I told you. Our child is right here. I took a step forward and walked towards the morgue. On the outermost side, there was a small bed. It was covered with a white cloth the size of a baby's swaddle. The moment he saw the white cloth, William's face turned deathly pale. He simply couldn't believe it. Caroline, if you don't want me to see the child, just say so. Why deceive me with this terrifying dead baby? I slowly lifted the white cloth, revealing the child's delicate face. The doctor said she was a beautiful baby girl. Her eyes and eyebrows resembled mine. She would surely have grown into a beauty. But unfortunately, she didn't get the chance. William curled up in the corner, refusing to come near. His face was deathly pale, but his eyes were blood red. Whether it's your child or not, we can do a paternity test to find out. Right, William. Do you think I'd still lie to you at this point? The divorce agreement has already been signed. I gave a desolate smile and looked at him coldly. You killed the child with your own hands. Between you and me, it's all over. William's face was ashen, and his whole body was trembling. I don't accept this. Caroline, when did I sign the divorce agreement? I just got a bit carried away. You couldn't satisfy me when you were pregnant. I just had a fling with another woman. What's the big deal? Do you really have to keep holding this against me? And you're using this dead fetus to threaten me. You know how important this child was to me, believe it or not. I shook my head and turned to leave the morgue. Before leaving, I told him one last thing. If you don't believe me, you can go ahead and do a paternity test. But this might be the last child you'll ever have in your life. Although William was extremely frightened, for the sake of certainty, he still had a paternity test done before the child was cremated. The test result confirmed that he was the child's biological father. Upon learning the truth, William was driven to the brink of madness by despair. He came to my parents' house, crying and begging for my forgiveness. He knelt down, surrounded by roses, and pleaded for me to come back. He said, Caroline, it's all my fault. Now that the child is gone, we can have a second or a third. Let's do IVF. Okay. The doctor said we're still young, and there's still a chance to conceive. My parents angrily shut the window, completely blocking out his voice. Only a crazy person would have a child with him. This brute actually has the nerve to ask my daughter to go back. If he wants to have a child, let him have one with that woman out there. My father was so angry that he stomped his feet. After learning that William had caused the death of my child, he was itching to go downstairs with a kitchen knife and chop him up. My mother stopped him. Dear, don't be impulsive. Caroline has already divorced that scumbag. When they got married, who knew he was such a good actor? We thought Caroline had found a good home, but he turned out to be such a despicable person. I sat on the sofa in silence, my expression calm. Mom and Dad, it's all in the past. We don't need to get angry over a scumbag. My mother sighed. Although you say that, you've been deceived for so many years, and you lost the child. Can you really let this go? I took a sip of tea and smiled gently. Mom, who said divorce is the end? William and Audrey colluded to kill my child and almost cost me my life. I won't let them get away scot-free. The show is yet to come. More than 10 days ago, I hired a private detective to secretly record the intimate and affectionate moments between William and Audrey, and collected all the footage as evidence. I gave one copy to my lawyer for the divorce lawsuit. My demand was that William be held accountable for manslaughter. He should not only leave the marriage with nothing but also be imprisoned. After seeing the evidence, the lawyer was so angry that he slapped his thigh. To do such a thing, he's truly a beast. He's a disgrace to men. He patted his chest and promised that the chances of winning the lawsuit were very high. And I personally sent the other copy to Audrey's husband, who was on a business trip abroad, to inform him of how he had been cuckolded. I heard that Audrey was found to be pregnant a few days ago. Audrey's husband rushed back overnight. He beat her until she had a miscarriage. Audrey, with a bleeding head, knelt down and pleaded with her husband. How could you believe others and treat me like this? You said you loved me. The man was so angry that he picked up a stick and viciously struck her. I never thought you were such a slut. Who gave you the audacity to cuckold me like this? I won't let you get away with it. Audrey clutched her belly, and blood kept flowing from her lower body. Please call 120 for me. I'm carrying your child. William, who arrived in time, was completely stunned. He flew into a rage and slapped Audrey. At that moment, both children were gone. William was told by the doctor that he would probably never be able to have children again in his life. In a fit of despair, he went crazy, grabbed a knife, and found Audrey to attack her. It's all your fault. You killed my 2 children and destroyed my family. I'm going to kill you. Avenge our family of 3. The case of William stabbing someone in the street quickly became a top trending topic. I clicked on the video, took a look, and then closed it. William was truly disgusting. He was the one who had caused this mess, yet he still had the nerve to blame others. Later, Audrey was hacked to death. and William was sentenced to 20 years in prison for murder. My lawyer couldn't help but sigh. I've really never seen such an easy-going case. He actually came to offer evidence himself. On the day William was arrested and taken to prison, I obtained all his assets and company property. Only then did I realize that he had been pretending to be poor and had hidden a large amount of money from me. But now he had nothing, and I would take this money, completely distance myself from this scumbag, and continue to live my life well. The end.